Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. And in today's video, we're covering two games by Blue Orange Games. We have Scatterbrain and Link City. Scatterbrain plays 2 to 8 players. It is a competitive game and it is a dexterity game, and it takes roughly about 10 minutes. It's a really quick game. Whereas Link City over here is 2 to 6, and it's a cooperative game. It's a city builder game. In Scatterbrain, you're going to be placing out these little cards here, rolling these dice, adding them up, and taking the cards that add up to the sum of any or all of the dice. And in Link City, one player is playing as like the sub-mayor, and the other player is playing as the mayor, and everybody else works together with those two in order to create a city. Start with Town Hall, place these little location tiles out. The sub-mayor will place where they want to place the next locations. The mayor will place the locations and in the spots that he or she hopes they will go to, and then the players will select locations that they're going to be placed at, and based on how well you work together as a team to place down your districts, you'll score more points. Both games are cool, light, kind of unique, different little games, but also because they're such small games, I figured I'd cover both of them and give you the full setup for each of them, how to play, and then my review. Let's get into it. So here we have Link City. This is a 2 to 6 player game, and it is cooperative, and the way you set it up is pretty simple. First thing, find City Hall. That's going to be your main basic starting tile that you place in the middle of the game board. And then finally, bonus tiles. These will actually have kind of like a highlighted area with either a car or a rocket. You'll notice them because it won't have a tree on one side. There should be 6 of them. Set those aside. If you're playing for your first time also, you won't use the white cone nor the white cone tiles. Go ahead and set those aside as well. What you should be left with is a stack of tiles for locations, the city hall in the middle, and then your 3 cones here. The mayor, first player, is going to get this board here. It's going to get 3 cones themselves, and then you're basically ready to go. The player who starts first is the mayor. The player to their left is the secondary or deputy mayor, and everybody else are players, but it switches from round to round. So place City Hall down, shuffle the tiles up, and place a tile in each location adjacent to City Hall. Place the 3 cones out within reach of all players, and the 3 main cones, the actual tokens, place those to the player on your left of the mayor. The mayor is just going to get the 3 cone tiles and this hiding board, and then you're ready to begin the game. Yep, it's simple. Let's talk about how to play. So the game is set up, and I'm the mayor. I've got my 3 cone tiles, and I've placed them behind my board here. Now I'm going to start the game off by taking 3 locations from the stack here, and I can go ahead and choose which side I want. If I want to play easier mode, otherwise I'll just take the ones on the bottom. And I'll place them behind my screen as well. Then the player who is the deputy mayor is going to take these cones here. They're going to then place these cones anywhere on the grid as long as one of the sides of one of the tiles is adjacent to the cones. So I just went ahead and placed them just like this, as you can see, for an easy example. Then, after that, the mayor is going to assign locations to the cones behind their screen. So I have a karaoke bar, a coal mine, and a gated community. And I'm going to place these guys in the cone locations, either yellow or orange or blue, where I think they best would fit in a city district. I'm creating a city district, and I need to figure out, this is probably going to make more sense. So I would place the coal mine, yeah, probably right here. And then the pharmacy is probably going to want this area and this area. Okay, and then I've assigned them. And after I've assigned, I will reveal, and so I can show you what the assigning looks like. You'll see 3 of the cones. These are face down, so you can't see which ones are which. And then you will see the 3 different locations here. And then after that, every single player is going to assign a cone to where the location should be. So maybe they think the karaoke bar should be next to the main square. They'll assign the yellow cone there. Maybe the graffiti tunnel should be where the coal mine is, and then we'll just go ahead and place this last one here. Everybody's now assigned, in which case we will reveal. And based on how well we do, we are going to assign these locations to the grid here. So I got one right. Blue is actually going to go in the blue area, and you'll connect them side to side. And then after you have constructed them, so players guess correctly, replace the remaining cones with the locations in the city tile. If it doesn't match though, the mayor places the location tile wherever they want in the city, but it must connect diagonally to at least one location without completing a tree with any tile. So what'll end up happening is these gates here, now I didn't actually get these correct, or the team didn't, so we're going to place them diagonally. So as opposed to adjacent, they go diagonally, because in this game you want to connect trees. So basically, half of a tree is on the existing side of one of these grids, and the other side is on the other half. So connecting these together will score you a point at the end of the game. So if you don't guess them right, you still have an opportunity to connect them, but it might be a little more challenging throughout the game. After that, what's going to happen is you're going to basically move this guy over to the left. But that would be the end of the round. So there's also one other thing you do at the end of the round. If you got all 3 of these correct, you would take, as the mayor, the location from this stack here, and you could place it adjacent to any of the locations. Just remember that the side without a tree can't be placed adjacent to a side with a tree. And it also blocks off spaces so you can't score points there when you connect them. If you, however, didn't get all 3 correctly, then you're just not going to get the tile, and you'll move on to the next round. And what will happen is the next player is going to become the mayor. They will take the guard here. They're going to take the 3 cone tiles, 3 new locations, and then the cones will move to the next player, let's say you, as the new deputy mayor, and the rest of these little cone tiles will go to the rest of the group of people, the rest of the pool of players. And you will play 6 rounds of this, having the mayor place their hidden tiles based on where they think they should go, based on where the deputy mayor placed the cones on the grid here. Then everybody's going to get revealed. Players are going to guess the locations of where they think makes the most sense based on the mayor's kind of ideas of where a city should be, how a city should be built. And then hopefully you score all 3 and get the bonus tile. And there you go. The only other little bonus thing here is, as you can tell, there was the white cones. This is added for a more complex game, and if you'll also notice, there is a double-sided aspect to these tiles, so you can either choose to play with both sides, or if you want a more challenging game, just play with one. There you go. Link City. Okay, let's talk about Scatterbrain. So this one's super light. I'm not gonna go into multiple cuts for this. Basically how it works is you take the dice, you put them in the brain here, and then you throw out 10 of these cards anywhere on the table just so that they're kind of around. There's going to be a total of 10 of them, and once you have 10, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, that will be all that you need. Maybe you put them in a circle so that each player has a kind of ability to at least reach them. Player's going to roll the dice and throw them out, in which case there's going to be numbers on the board here. You have a 5, a 4, a 6, and a 1. And you will, along with everybody else, take any tiles that add up to the sum or are the sum of these pips here. So I can take a 6 with my 6, the 1, a 5, or a 4 if they're any on the field here. Well, look, there's a 4, there's a 6, somebody else took another 6 and another 6. Well, as you can see, there's additional ones here. Somebody took the 4 here, nice. Now you have the 10, 13, 14, and 7. Well, you can add these up. Well, there's a 6 and a 1, that's 7, so somebody can take that one as well. 5, 4, and 1, that's 10. And then 6, there's 11, 12, 11, 15. Okay, none of these will add up. Okay, 6 and 4 is another 10, obviously, but there's still 14 and 13 left. None of these actually add up to 13 and 14, so they will stay. And if somebody took them, they'll suffer a penalty. And then what happens is you're going to go ahead and start another round. You'll flip these guys out once again until you get 10. 3, 6, 9, 10. And then somebody else, the next player, will shuffle these and throw them out. And then you're going to start doing it once again, adding up the die pips and trying to grab the cards. And this game will play out over the course of 10 rounds. And at the end of the 10th round, whoever has the most cards is the winner. And if there's a tie, what you'll do is you'll add up all the values of all the cards that you've gained, and whoever has the most points there is the winner in a tie. Yeah, it's a pretty simple game. It's light. It's got a little tiny rule book for a reason. It's a competitive, dexterity, mathy type of a game. Okay, so those are the 2 games, Link City and Scatterbrain. But I forgot to mention one thing, which is how to score and how to win with Link City. Well, after the 6th round, you're going to tally up all the points that you have. And the points are based on connected trees. Each of these tiles has 4 portions of trees. And if you connect them to any other tile adjacently, that's going to score you a point. So as you can see, City Hall and the graffiti tunnel are attached. That's going to give you 1 point. If the pharmacy was connected as well, that will give you 2 points. So more connected areas on more sides will score you more points. And how do you determine if you win? Well, at the back of the rulebook, there's a little chart here from -30 all the way to 60 points. from Welcome to Funky City as the lowest end, or Congratulations, but you cheated as the higher end. If you can get 50 or more points, you did very, very well in this game. Don't forget you can also score bonus points with these 6 bonus tiles, aka you can get an additional 3 points for each of them at the end of each of the rounds by connecting them down onto the game board. But for the most part, you're scoring by connecting them in adjacent areas and trying to kind of make city tiles be placed where they need to go. This is a cooperative game in which you have to kind of not only think of where the mayor is going to think locations should go, but as kind of like the sub-mayor, as like the deputy mayor, you need to like place tiles in, or these cones in reasonable spaces along the game board. You might not want to place them on all the outskirts because then they do not connect to other tiles. You want to maybe connect them to multiple location spaces, thusly giving you more points, but making it more challenging because then players need to think, well, what would go in between a pharmacy and a graffiti tunnel? If I have a coal mine, I might not want to put it by a pharmacy, but I might want to put it next to a tunnel. Or if I have like a karaoke bar, maybe I want it to go between the main square and the pharmacy, or maybe just adjacent to the main square, but next to a bookstore. That might be challenging. So it might make more sense to just go to the main square as far as mechanically or mentally speaking, but as far as scoring points, placing them in a space that has multiple sides will give you more points, but it makes it more challenging. So the challenge actually comes in with the deputy mayor working with the mayor and other players realizing the decisions people are making and why they are making them. It's a basic tile placement game. It's very simple, very straightforward, but there's a lot of thought in it, there's a lot of discussion, and it comes down to like, how would I do city planning, and how would my friends do city planning, and where would I place certain things to make sense and also score the most amount of points. It's a pretty straightforward game, a little bit of complexities in the fact that you can flip over the tiles. You have the bonus tiles when you actually get all of them right, which is damn near challenging to get all of them right in a game. And then an extra cone to make even scoring even more difficult, or I guess better, but also more challenging because you have to think about the new locations that come up. Pieces are great and works really well. Triple thick of these little tiles here. They're pretty straightforward. They just have little like rectangles that say pharmacy or tunnel or main square. You don't need it to be anything super complex. What you're doing is looking at kind of like a Google map illustration of a city and constructing from there. At the end of the game, you're going to have this big Google map in front of you and hopefully score a lot of points going across and then down for each of the rows and columns, adding up all the points to win. It's a pretty straightforward game. If you like games that are cooperative, a little bit of city planning, and knowing what your friends are like, icebreaker type games, then Link City will be for you. Otherwise, you have Scatterbrain here. Scatterbrain is as straightforward as they come. You just take these little cards out, you place them on the table, you get 10 of them, and you are then going to roll dice. When you roll dice, it's a race to the finish by adding up the dice and the pips and pulling cards from the table, trying to grab as many as you can. Avoiding grabbing the wrong ones, because if you add incorrectly, you go, oh, 6 and 3, that's 10, and you pull the 10, that's going to cost you. But if you get it right and you realize it's 9, that can score you extra cards. And people are going to be randomly and quickly pulling these little cards here into their little pools, and more cards are going to come out. At the end of the game, you'll see a hodgepodge of players having all kinds of different cards, and hopefully quite a few. There's a big stack here, and you'll play through all of it, and until hopefully there's one player that is crowned the victor. The little point scoring system for tiebreakers is kind of meh. The fact that you just add them up and whoever has the most is the winner. Basically, it favors a player who counts higher, which I guess does make sense in a way, because while each of the cards are only worth 1 point, being able to calculate multiple dice at once and add their pips is a little more challenging, so if you are able to get more of those, okay, yeah, I like it, it's fine. It felt weird in the game, but now that I'm thinking about it, it works pretty well. The quality, well, you got this big plastic brain here, you got your 4 basic pink pip-sided die, and you have a bunch of cards. That's pretty much all you need for the game. It is a cooperative or competitive game, it is a dexterous game, and it uses a little bit of thinking. Basic math, mind you, good for kids, and being able to play this game at whatever kind of speed you want is going to work well, especially for your first game with your kids. You can kind of make this a little bit of a math game and slowly pick while allowing your children to pick as well until eventually their math skills get good enough to where players start racing along the table, taking the cards as quickly as possible and like oomping up their mechanical, mathematical skills. Yeah, it's a cute game. It's a fun game. It's very, very light though. Both of these games are fairly light. Obviously, Link City is a little bit more complex and involves a little bit more of like an icebreaker, thinking about other players around the table, whereas Scatterbrain is simply going and looking and adding and pulling as fast as you possibly can. Players who like Slapjack are going to enjoy Scatterbrain, and players who enjoy games like Speed or 13, those type of things, are going to be kind of digging this little game here. But it is rather basic, rather simple in nature. Not a whole lot going on when it comes to Scatterbrain. Link City's got a little bit more meat. Obviously, players might argue a little bit in the game, like why it doesn't make any sense. Why would you put a pharmacy next to a coal mine? Why would you put the library next to a disco hall and a dance theater? But that adds to the charm and fun of the game. There's a lot of little random things that can happen and players discussing why things should go where. And this will also determine or help you understand how people are silly and place things in wrong areas when they construct an actual city on a grid. I really, really like Link City. I think this is a lot of fun. This one, I'll throw and play with the little ones when they're here, but yeah, Link City is definitely where it's at for me. Both of them work in their own rights though, and I enjoyed both. Hopefully this gave you enough information to decide if any of these are up for you. And if so, then you know where to go. That's right, links down below where you can pick up both of these games. Thank you so much for watching another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. And if you'd like as well, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, bell notification button, so you can see more videos that we create for these type of games. I put 2 in 1 this time, so I was behind by a day or so. So now you get 2 reviews all in one video. I know the Scatterbrain's kind of a small one, but I thought I'd include it because it is a bit of fun. It's one of those games where I would never say it's not fun, and there is definitely going to be an audience for this, especially the younger ones. Or if you like a little bit of just straightforward dexterity, mathematical thinking, you'll get a dig out of this one. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I look forward to scattering my brain while building a city with you guys next time.